We should get out of bed. I think we should have our afternoon treats, don't you think? Don't you think it's time for a treat? Yeah? Buddy, want a treat? No. Don't bother me, kid. I'm sleeping. Hi, Eleanor. You make a good pillow. Look at this picture. Oh, Buddy's just went, because I'm giving Eleanor some attention. Hey guys, how are ya? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. Today is the 19th of March. Hi there, how are you? Great, great. That should cover it. Just grabbing a coffee at Dunkin's. Happy vernal equinox. Today's the first day of spring. Can you believe it? Great. Could you throw that away? Because I have so many gift cards. I'm still using the gift cards I got from Christmas. So happy vernal equinox. It's the first day of spring. Beautiful day. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful day here in Las Vegas. And I'm going out for a drive. I am wearing it's a linen shirt from Banana Republic that I just love. Look how little my arms are. But it's a super cute shirt with the little blue shorts and some mules from Africa. It's very strange shoes, but I love them. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Can I get a straw? Oh, thank you. Yeah. Have a great day. So I am really loving my little outfit today. It's a perfect day for linen. So just going for a little drive. It's a beautiful day. Got the day off. Just grabbed myself an iced coffee. Thinking of just maybe going over to Sunset Park and just having a little walkabout. Just really a nice and relaxing day. I thought I'd take you along with me. And yeah, so I'm going to see you wherever I end up. I'll see you. All right, see you soon. And yes, I'm wearing these fun purple glasses because they've got lavender and other colors. See how cute they are? And I don't wear them often because they don't go with many outfits I have, but they do work well with what I'm wearing today. So I thought, what the hell? Let's be like hyper gay. Because I feel a little extra gay in these glasses. But yeah, let's go find something to do. All right, I came down to Sunset Park. There's a little man-made lake over there with lots of ducks and stuff. I thought I'd just take a little walk. Meanwhile, these are my shoes. Aren't they cute? They're little mules. I love the little bee detail on the side there. Really cute. They're from Kenya, of all places. Yeah, love those. My rose-colored shirt, my blue linen shorts, and my mustard shoes. I am very colorful today. Let's get my iced coffee. They made it without sweetener. I asked for 3 equal. There's no sweetener, so but I'm gonna drink it because it's caffeine. It's a beautiful day. You can see the buds on the trees are just about to leaf out. There's kids on the swings laughing over there. Really a beautiful, beautiful day. Lots of beautiful little ducks. I don't recognize the species of duck, but really, really pretty ducks. Gorgeous, gorgeous. There's some mallards right there. And you'll see some people fishing. I'm not quite sure what kind of fish you'll find on the water here. I don't see any. But yeah, it's a pretty little man-made lake in the middle of Las Vegas. As you walk around the park, you're going to see sort of little impromptu memorials with flowers and floral things, and it kind of gives you vibes of what happens at roadside deaths. You know, people who put crosses and stuff up. Flowers, little memorials wherever the disaster happened, you know. But here in Las Vegas, I think in this park in particular, you can, for a fee, be assigned a tree that you can sort of decorate as a memorial for a pet or a loved one or something, which is kind of charming. It's also kind of creepy, but yeah, there you go. Some are very, very ornate. Some are pretty simple, but got more little ducks over there. Yeah, this one is in a little bit of disrepair, but oh look, it's got little fishing lures on it. So maybe someone who this is dedicated to used to fish here, as those people are. Oh. All right, so let's take a seat and process something. Take these glasses off that feel very silly right now. I just looked at my phone a moment ago, and two text messages just popped up on my phone, and I opened them up. And one was from a friend, Steve, in Boston, and another was from my friend David, who lives in Palm Springs, I think. And they just sent me a message that I want to call him my friend, but he was my sponsor. He passed away last night. And it's just sort of funny as I'm walking around the park here to see these little memorials by these trees and talking about people passing. And John died. He was my John H. He was my sponsor for a long time. I'm not quite sure how to even process this. I know I'm going to fall apart at some time later on today. I can feel it starting now. Yeah, I'll tell you more in a minute. I don't know if you can see it right there. As I was talking about John, whoop, it went away. As I was talking about John, a hummingbird flew right in front of me over the water, kind of just stayed there for a moment, and then it flew up into the branch, and I kind of felt it look down at me. It's kind of creepy. It's just... All right, hold on. I keep thinking I can talk to you, and I can't. All right, 1 minute. Hi. All right, so I haven't cried yet, but it feels like it's coming. It feels like it's coming, but John was so inspirational, and not only me getting and staying sober, but he was so instrumental. Oh God, I can't talk. Hold on. All right, I want to be able to respect him enough to be able to talk about him without dissolving into a puddle of tears. So, John was transformational in my life. He was my sponsor, and he was everything a sponsor should be. He was instrumental in not only me getting sober and staying sober, but he was also instrumental in, I would say, guiding, pushing me onto the path of service towards others, service for others as a way to get sober, stay sober, and become a better person. He was instrumental in me trying to practice patience, love, and tolerance. That was his code. That was his motto. That was his life's definition, was patience, love, and tolerance. Especially towards those he didn't agree with. He taught me a huge lesson. Like, when you are fervently in disagreement with somebody, sometimes they're right. You know, sometimes other people are right. We're not right all the time. And he was instrumental in teaching me that. So there's an element of humility there. There's definitely a big piece of patience, love, and tolerance that he has taught me to practice. Am I making any sense at all? So I met John early, the first days of my recovery. My sobriety date is June 28th, 2002. I went to my first meeting, my first recovery meeting, probably it was the day after, I think it was the day after I got out of the locked psych ward that I was in. So it was like a week after. I went to a meeting, and then the next night, I was told about a different meeting, and I know that John was there, and a whole bunch of people that really ended up helping me get sober were at that meeting. Then they all said, you need to go to Crossroads with us, and you have to go to Back Bay Steps with us, and it's all the cool kids go to these meetings. And so I started going to Boston Crossroads, which ended up becoming my home group. And that's like the group where I dedicated myself to service to others in that group in particular. It's kind of like having a church. Like you go to that particular church and you serve others in that church. But in the same effort, you're helping all of the people in your community. You know what I mean? That's what a home group is. That's a really good way to describe a home group. It was a huge group. There were like 200 people at the time. There's probably 30 people now, but there were about 200 people or more. There was standing room only. It was an amazing recovery meeting, and we would have business meetings. There's a whole structure, internal structure to these recovery meetings, and the society that has been born from them. And it's a very divisive crowd. You know, alcoholics, we don't always think alike. And some of us are more broken than others. And many of us are in different levels of recovery. But each of us had a voice. Each of us was equal to everyone around you. Someone who had 25 years sober had just as much. I mean, someone who had like 60 days sobriety had just as much to say about what happened in the group as someone who had 25 years. So there was a wonderful equality in the meeting, but still a very divisive group. And when there was a moment where we were really at a crossroads, that was the name of the group, and there was opinions on both sides, the whole room at a meeting would turn towards John, who was the voice of reason, and he was a diplomat with humility, and he lived to serve others. It was rarely about his ego or what he thought was the right thing to do. He just frequently was the voice that helped the group make a decision based on a group conscience, not just someone's opinion. It's hard to describe what happens in some meetings, but John was just always the person we would all turn to, the father figure, and he did everything with such grace and such humility and such diplomacy. I've used the word a number of times. Let me rest my arm here. But I had a sponsor. I was kind of given a sponsor in the first days of my recovery. The first week, I actually had a sponsor, also named John D. John D was my sponsor. I did not feel I had a choice in getting a sponsor. John was just my sponsor. John was this thug. He was a recovering thug as much as he was a recovering alcoholic. But he had been sober for a very long time. And he taught me a whole bunch of things. That guy, no one had ever loved me as much as that John did, that John D. But, he would call me asshole, and he'd call me all sorts of things. He'd ask me questions, and I'd answer the question the way I thought he wanted to hear the answer. I was giving him the answer I thought he wanted. And he'd say, listen up, asshole. If I wanted to hear my own opinions spouted back to me, I'd ask myself the question, what's the answer? And then I would answer the question wrong. And he'd go, wrong. You know why you're wrong? And then he would tell me why I was wrong. And I learned a lot from him, but everything was very heavy-handed. Everything was brutal. It was love in a velvet glove. I think that bird just yodeled. John was amazing, also a jerk at the same time. I swear it's yodeling. So I stayed sober for a year with John as my sponsor, that John. And what John was really doing, John pushed me into service. He was the first person. I was 5 months sober. I just finished my 5th step. If you're familiar with the steps or recovery at all, it's quick. He had me moving. He had me jump into my 4th step, and I'm very grateful for that because it helped me form a base of my recovery and have a vocabulary to use when talking about my recovery. But I was on my 5th step, and that morning someone said, "Hey, John, would you be my sponsor?" And he said, "No, I'm booked, kid, but he's free, me." And this kid and I, who I knew from his drinking, we both looked at each other like, "Oh, shoot." So I was his sponsor. John pushed me into sponsorship. This is a different John entirely. I loved him, but not like my John, my sponsor. Blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you too much about the first John. What John was also doing was teaching me to have a pair of balls. He was teaching me to be a man. He was teaching me that I was not a doormat to be walked upon, which is how I frequently saw myself. And what he was doing, really, in the end, was teaching me how to fire him as a sponsor. He was teaching me how to fire him. He was teaching me how to grow beyond my need for him as a sponsor. I didn't know that at the time, but it's what I've come to understand. And I'm glad when that's happened to me, because I've tried to teach my sponsees in the past to grow beyond me, you know? So I was at a meeting, and the whole room turned towards John, and John gave gave us some suggestions, and he never told us what to do. And I was like, wow, he would be a great sponsor. I asked him later on that day if he would be my sponsor, and he paused and he said yes. And I just felt amazing, because John was legend. He was legend. And I just felt like a disciple. You know? That's how I felt. I was a disciple. I was one of John's sponsees. And different John. This is John H., my sponsor who passed. God, those days. So John was, at the time, I think he had just become our area chair. Now, I don't want to go into the semantics of the whole thing, but the program of recovery I practice, which is sometimes it rhymes with Alcoholics Anonymous. There is a structure that goes from individual people to groups. Then the group elects someone to represent them in the larger community of the district. And then the district has someone who they elect to represent the area. And then the areas elect someone to represent them in the country, and so on. So at the time, John was, I believe, just becoming area chair. Over the years, he became our delegate to the United States and conference. So I had big shoes to fill. He was a great example of what it is to serve other people, and he was just amazing. But through John and watching him help others by serving them, which only amplified his own recovery, I got involved in the service structure, which is what it's called. I became an alternate GSR, then a GSR, then alternate DCM, then DCM chair, and then I was service seminar chair, where I gave orientations to people in getting involved in service. My goal was to teach people that there are rewards to helping other people, and this is a great way to help other people, and blah, blah, blah. And then I became alternate secretary, and then I became secretary, all under the direction and guidance of John. Now, that just sounds like I took a whole bunch of things and wrote it on a resume, but each of those jobs, positions that I held, I felt unprepared for. I felt unqualified for, and each position had greater responsibility to other people. As secretary for Eastern Massachusetts, there were 2,200 meetings in Eastern Massachusetts every week. And my job was to consolidate all the reports and all the meetings and all the goings-ons, and create a synopsis, and make sure that everyone in the area, Eastern Massachusetts, was up to date, and everyone knew what was going on with other groups. And if one group had a challenge, how did another group solve that same problem, and blah, 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 blah. I wasn't everything. I was part of a service structure that served other people, and it was just beautiful. And all of this was because John was my inspiration and gave me direction. Now, all of this at the same time, as my emotional growth, my emotional recovery, I went through everything with John. John, the minute my grandmother passed away, I talked about her recently. The minute when she passed away, he was the first person I called. You know, he showed up. I didn't tell him anything. He showed up at my grandmother's funeral. And John was 6'5", big silver mustache, handsome man. And he showed up at her funeral in a black suit. And it was like an angel. It was like an angel of compassion came down and stood in front of me, you know, and embraced me. I know, you know, I don't believe in God and angels and all that stuff, but that's what it was like. John, when I got stabbed, and that's a whole different story, and I made a video about that. I almost died. Not to laugh, but when I got stabbed at the hospital, the staff there said, you know, who should we call? The first person I wanted there by my side was my sponsor. He showed up 30 minutes later. He could barely walk. John had a lot of physical problems over the years, and even back then in 2007, he had a difficult time walking, but somehow he teleported to my side at the emergency room, and he was there with me the whole time. Any challenge I had, any difficulty I had in life, I could ask John for his direction, not suggestions, but how should I approach this? And every single time it worked. And what's truly amazing about John, he made me feel special as an individual. But he made everyone, thousands, and I mean literally thousands of people. I'm looking for the airplane I can hear. Thousands and thousands of people in not just our area, across the country and across the world. He made every single one of them feel individually loved and cared for. He was an amazing person. And I would have been, I don't know what I would have been without him. John had diabetes. He had a whole bunch of problems. He was hit by a car, and I don't think he ever really recovered from that. So his health was always pretty bad. He would go to the hospital, and he'd be in the hospital for a few days, and I would go to visit him every day. And as much as he was diabetic, he really loved chocolate. And all he really ever wanted was a Hershey's bar, no almonds, and a Coke. That's us. So every time I went to the hospital, I know I was being a disservice to him because he didn't need sugar, but all he really wanted was a Hershey's bar with no almonds and a Coke, and I would smuggle those into the hospital. It wasn't good for him, but he wanted it so bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're probably watching this video going, all right, Stephen, come to a point. An amazing man has died, and I don't know how to handle it. So, and there's no one really here for me to talk to about it, so I'm talking to you. No one here knows who John is or was, and but I am incredibly grateful for him having. Hold on. I'm just so grateful that there was someone like him, like John H., to help forge my soul. He really did. He helped forge my soul, and he is the whole reason I am who I am today. I mean, even more so than my grandmother, even more so. That people always go, "Oh, you were so lucky to have your grandmother to help you, grow and be a good person." She did her part. She really did. But John, as the embodiment of recovery, he was the true soul of recovery for me. John was the manifestation of what I needed to get sober, stay sober, become the person I am today. So that's one of the first things I think he would want me to understand is John wasn't a miracle worker. He was not on his own the solution to problems. He was the conduit from recovery into the solution. I think that would have made him proud that I'm able to see that. He was such a good person. All right. So again, I'm sorry I'm being very dramatic. It's who I am. But I wanted to share a little bit of something with you guys. To know that something beautiful has left this world. And we are, I hate when my voice does that. We all lose people. We all lose these people who are paradigms of what it means to be a good person, and to the people who truly loved us. We all lose those people. It's just, so many of mine are gone. They've all passed away, and it's been a while. It's been a while since I've grieved a person, because I don't have a lot of people around me, and most of the people I've loved have been dead for years. Most of my family is dead. So it feels weird to revisit grief. It's very strange because I was so used to grief for so long. But going through the 80s and 90s and losing everyone I really knew to AIDS and HIV. And then my own family started failing and passing. And then it's been a long time since I've felt grief. So it's an unwelcome thing, but it does bring me back to thinking about John and remembering John, and ta-da. All right, so I'm gonna apologize again for just sitting here crying at you. And I'm just gonna hang out by this beautiful, beautiful little park and cry a little bit, finish my iced coffee, and just meditate on John and what he did for me. So I will see you later on today, I think. I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the day. I really don't feel like doing anything. I feel like eating. That's what I feel like doing right now. But we'll see. I'll see you later. So I just took a walk around the park. It felt nice to just walk in the sun. And then I started crying hysterically. Which is not a good look in public. People worry. And so I came back to the car to finish crying, and I popped onto Facebook. I really didn't want to look at my Facebook feed just in case, but I went to John's Facebook page, and I guess one of his nieces, or two people in his family, wrote on his wall that he had passed. And so I just wrote "love you" and posted that. John celebrated, I did not mention this, John celebrated 31 years of sobriety on February 27th. 31 years. He was 78 years old when he died. I'm going to have one more good cry before I leave the parking lot. And then I need to eat something. I had a bowl of cereal this morning. And I weighed myself. I'm still 213. Still 213. So, but I need to just eat. That's what I need to do right now, is just eat something. Like a lot of it. Maybe I'll have a Hershey's bar. And a Coke. I think I'll do that. These glasses just seem too silly to be wearing today with these feelings I have right now. So I'm feeling a little bit better. I've had these microbursts of tears that they have given me the satisfaction and the release of crying. I love a good cry. I don't love being brought to tears, but sometimes you just need to cry. And I bravely jumped on Facebook a moment ago and just looked around and just scrolled through, partly for a little mind-numbing sort of, scroll. But I saw a post pop up from an old friend named Sue, who took up the mantle later on after John was delegate. She became one of our delegates for Easter Mass, and she posted something a quote that had been on her mind all day, and I'm going to include it here. You'd have to have paused that to have been able to read it, because I think this clip, that each photo is only like 3 seconds long. But I'm going to post it, if I haven't already, at this point in the day. If I haven't posted it on my community tab, I'm gonna post it there. So you can read it. It is quite possibly the most beautiful way of saying that we all touch each other. Even in the smallest of moments, we can touch each other and change each other, and without leaving much behind, still having changed each other just by having been part of each other's lives, And I thought I had cried, and I read that, and I just sat in the car and had this like car shaking sob, just weeping, messy. My face was slick with tears, and just shook the car. I was crying so hard. I suspected one of these kids running around here would knock on the window and go, "Are you okay, old man?" But I feel better for having sobbed a big messy cry, so I feel a little bit better in that. I'm still hungry, so I'm gonna grab a bite to eat, but it's rush hour here. I'm always out on the road during rush hour. But you probably didn't have a chance to read that, but pop over my community tab, and that'll be one of my posts, so you can read it. And you remember, we touch each other. We touch each other, even through this channel. You may not know, just by watching this, what a support you are, and a relief to know that you're listening. Some of you are still listening after all this craziness, but some of you, you're there with me during the worst of times. It's really is a comfort knowing that you're watching. So thanks. I might just end this now, because I can't imagine what else I could say, and anything else that's going to happen in my day could be of any context into this video. So I'm going to let you go. And thank you so much for letting me cry and just be this with you. So I don't feel so alone during this moment. But so thank you for being here, and I will see you again very soon. All right? Have a great day, and happy spring. All right, I think I might need to sob one more time. And that's it. I'll see you guys later. All right, fly safe. Bye.